Welcome to the Casual Birder podcast. I'm Susie Buttress. As a casual birder, I take time to watch birds as I go about my daily tasks. In my show, I'll tell you about the wild birds I've seen, speak with other enthusiasts, take bird walks, and share stories from listeners around the world. In episode 78, I speak with Tim Appleton, MBE, co-founder of the upcoming Global Bird Weekend. Participants from over 100 countries are taking part in this inaugural event on October the 17th and 18th, 2020. The event brings together people from around the world of all levels of experience to watch and listen to their local birds. It'll provide data for the eBird research database via community science and raise funds for BirdLife International to stop the illegal trade of songbirds. Tim tells me his hopes for the event and how we can all get involved. A quick note to say that the Zoom call behaved erratically at times, so please bear with us for those moments when the sound drops out. When I spoke to Tim earlier this week, I started the conversation under a misconception. I had thought that the Global Bird Weekend had been running for several years, but in fact, as Tim tells me, the event was only created a couple of months ago.
This is completely new. Since I gave up running Bird Fair back in at the end of last year, basically, I was looking for doing something sort of slightly different, but using all the contacts and the sort of skills, or whatever you like to call them, to sort of bring communities together through bird watching, and particularly to sort of help birding towards conservation. So it was only literally 8 weeks ago that Penny and I launched this from the kitchen where we are at the moment. And I can tell you this morning we had our 94th country register. Was it Pakistan? Yeah, I think it was Pakistan. So it's just gone absolutely viral. It's amazing. We're hoping to get 20 to 25,000 people out over the weekend, along with the teams of eBird people, because we're working very closely with eBird, based in Cornell University. We want to do world records. We want to have the most number of people ever out in a weekend birding around the world. We want to see as many species. We could actually see well over 6,000 birds, species, just in 2 days. And particularly on the Sunday, what we're hoping to do is people take your cameras, take photographs. It can be the blackbird in your garden, and then just get out, take photographs, upload it to the Macquarie Library, which is part of the eBird system. And, they can actually take in 70,000 photographs in a single day. So you could even have a world record number of bird species, photographed in a single day. But it's as much as bringing people together, from different real casual birders who, perhaps very rarely leave their gardens or local parks, who just enjoy the wildlife. And, it's a wonderful way of bringing people together.
That is stupendous. To have done all of that in 8 weeks and had the goodwill of so many people around the world is just awesome. I'm so pleased that the listeners and I are taking part in this, and I want to promote as many people as possible to do this because, of course, with this year, with so many of us being locked down, we've had to become more aware of what's going on very, very locally to each of us. And I note that one of the aims of this was for people to go to their local patch, so not to be travelling vast distances, but just to look at the local patch and see what's there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the key things. Particularly, one of the things that was behind our thoughts over this new event was the fact that, we're going to be also helping stop the illegal bird trade and coronavirus. So, we're very aware that we don't want people to travel. We want people to look at and understand their local restrictions. It varies all over the country. Some countries are completely locked down. In fact, I suggested to some people the other day they ought to set up a new team called balcony birding, which would actually be people, who are literally looking out of their balconies, watching birds. There's some people in Peru and, lots of other countries that are really seriously locked down. So, we are asking people to take great care. Go to your local park, go to your local nature reserve, if you're allowed to. If not, just watch what's outside your garden. Load them onto eBird and just help us enjoy birds, because we'll all be able to share these different experiences through social media. So that's the exciting thing. Social media has opened up all sorts of doors. It's quite remarkable. I put a photograph on yesterday of me chatting to David Attenborough, who I've known for 40 years or so quite well. And it was quite true. It's had nearly 7,000 likes, which is, just unheard of. But I mean, that's very nice. But, if there's a little message somewhere that someone will pick up and say, well, what is this global birding? Why do I want to take part? Or why should I take part? And the response has been brilliant, Susie.
And one of the things that I think is so great about it is that you have said, even if you can only manage 15 minutes, you don't have to be an expert birder to be able to take part and to enjoy what you're seeing.
Yeah, exactly. People have been sending in videos from across the planet. Absolutely amazing. And one was really, really moving. It's a young lad called Aidan who is severely disabled, only able to take photographs with an iPad. And his mum and dad go out with their RV in the States, and they've done the most incredible. So, it's very much access for all. Whatever your life conditions are, just enjoy birds, because they are the flagship for so many other species. And one of the great things about birding, it doesn't matter where you are, birds are all around us. So, I mean, you don't have to travel hundreds of miles or even go to the local park. If you're in a situation where you are locked down or you have restricted movements due to the COVID crisis. So, put a feeder up in the garden if you're not already doing so. And before long, believe me, you'll have blue tits and great tits and blackbirds feeding on the old apples that you throw out on the floor, just anything that will attract the birds. And just spend a few minutes. It doesn't have to be a whole day. The more records we receive through eBird, it means that we'll have more information that will be collated for all sorts of purposes in the future. This is all about almost citizen science, and so we can work together and bring these communities across the world. And that data will be kept by eBird, and it's all free for anybody to use for any purpose. Now, some people use eBird information purely when they're going to travel to another country, because all the bird lists and all the locations are there for you to look at. So, if you were to go back to Mexico next year, I know you've been there, you might want to venture further out, and you could find out the key hotspots, as we call them, where birds can be easily located. But a lot of information is also used to protect areas. So, for example, forests in the Amazon, forests in all over the world that are being decimated. If people are fighting to save those forests, then at least there's information immediately at hand for them to use to fight for the security and safety of that forest. It could be an ecological contractor who needs that information quickly. Now, at the moment, if that information wasn't available, then they would have to go out, they'd have to do a month's monitoring, or they might have to do even longer. So really, it's absolutely critical to have all this information, even though it might only be your garden. It's all information that could be used by local ecologists to help protect the environment.
And even if you're only looking in your garden, that then builds up to a picture of what happens in your area. And also with the movement of birds. So if people around the country are keeping these records, then, for example, we're currently going through the autumn migration. It gives a pattern for what birds are turning up where. I understand that you're also hoping to fundraise for BirdLife International.
Yes, I mean, basically, I've always supported BirdLife International, and I think over the years probably raised up to £40 million through the bird fair, and then the money that's been raised at those events has then been used to sort of seed bigger projects. Sometimes you have to put in another, 5% on top of a massive great grant from the government or whoever it might be. So it's a great organisation with 120 partners across the world. So, if we're going to find out more about what's happening around the world, then, we can find out through BirdLife International. And BirdLife International have recently launched a campaign which is absolutely critical to save birds that are being illegally traded. Now, it's a massive problem all over the world. I learned recently that in Java, there are more birds in cages than there are actually in the wild in Java. So it is a massive problem. And there are definitely links between the wildlife trade and COVID. And corona. So, we have got to sort of stop this horrendous trade. And so what we'll be asking people to do, and purely on a voluntary basis, is to either donate, to go to the Global Birding website, where they can just put in a few pounds or a few dollars or wherever it is around the world and make a small donation towards stopping this horrendous illegal trade. Now, a number of people, of course, have also set up their Just Giving pages. And I know already, just in the first few days, we've raised about £3,500 to £4,000, which, is a substantial amount of money, which I know will grow and grow as we get closer to the event on the 17th and 18th of October.
That's absolutely awesome. We've done that as well. We've set up a Just Giving page.
You have indeed.
We've set a fairly modest total, but even if people can only put a very small amount in, all of us doing that will make a big difference. So you mentioned earlier that it's possible that there may be over 6,000 species of birds seen, and that's well over half of the global bird populations, isn't it?
Absolutely right. And I mean, that's why we're so lucky to have so many people from different countries. Now, I'm desperately hoping by the end of this week, if not before, we'll have topped 100 different countries that are taking part. So, this is literally from New Zealand to Argentina to Alaska to Pakistan, all over Africa, even Russia, China, the Middle East, everywhere. We're getting people registering. So you can imagine some people, that go and see a blackbird. Well, that'll be one species, but then someone else will go and see a harpy eagle. That's number two. And so you can, build up and build up and build up till you get these phenomenal numbers. And I know some countries are particularly trying their best to see if they can set a country record for the number of species seen. So they're getting really organized. A friend of mine from Tanzania, who ought to be a brigadier rather than just a bird watcher, has got people all over the country in Tanzania saying, right, you go to this particular site, you'll see such and such, go to that other site, then you must get down to the wetland, don't forget to leave enough time to then do your local forest. And it's remarkable, the sort of camaraderie that has been created by this event is quite remarkable. And if people are nervous about eBird, then go to our website, Global Birding, and you'll see an easy way how to join eBird, how to register, and also register on our site, of course, because if you're a very lucky person, you could be the winner of a pair of the brand new Swarovski NLPs, plus a fantastic holiday worth about $5,000 with rock jumper, and then lots of other prizes that are being offered. It's purely voluntary. You have to register. You don't have to donate. You don't have to do anything other than register and love birds and send your records in.
Fantastic. On the day, how will people be able to see records of birds being seen and what people are seeing? Is it by following the hashtag on social media?
But also by looking at eBird's website, because they will be updating every few minutes the number of people taking part, the number of bird lists coming in, and the number of species. So it's quite remarkable. And if you go to their website, the great thing about it is they have this amazing map of the world, and it lights up slowly as you start in the far, far east, say in New Zealand. When people wake up, we're still fast asleep. And then you'll see ... New Zealand, then into Australia, then into Papua New Guinea, into Middle East, into Europe, into the States. And what we're going to be doing, which is really exciting, is having a number of live events during the weekend, particularly on the Sunday, where we expect tens of thousands of people to watch some of the Swarovski events we're doing, which one of them will be launched from this little garden here.
Oh, fantastic.
To go on a global route around the world, helping people to enjoy the day. And I know that a recent Swarovski event had over 600,000 people so far that have looked at it since it was broadcast and then put onto their website and YouTube. So that'll help, I think, in the future, because this is the first event, but believe me, it is not going to be the last.
It's absolutely fantastic. I'm so pleased that we as a team with the Casual Bird podcast can take part. I'm really hoping we can inspire other people to take part as well. And I'm really looking forward to the weekend and seeing what everyone else is seeing, and knowing that we're all enjoying seeing birds, but doing something positive towards both raising money for BirdLife International and providing data for eBird. It's a really amazing event. I thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me, and we're really looking forward to helping you reach those world records that you're hoping for.
Thank you, Susie. And perhaps after the event we can have another podcast to bring you up to date with everything that happened, and how much money was raised, how many species were seen. And I look forward to seeing how the Casual Birding podcast group do, and what a wonderful weekend they're going to have. Thank you all very much.
There is still time to register to take part in the Global Bird Weekend, whether as a team or an individual. You will also need an eBird account in order for your sightings to be added to the global database. The account is free to set up, and details on how to do this are set out on the Global Birding website. So, stop what you're doing right now and register at globalbirding.org. Then come back to hear about the Casual Birder podcast team. I mentioned last episode that I was hoping to set up a Casual Birder podcast team to take part in the Global Bird Weekend. Well, we have one. Let me introduce you to the team.
Hi, I'm Adam and I'm from the Peak District in England.
Hi, this is Laura from Virginia, USA.
Hi, I'm Natasha and I'm in Shetland, Scotland.
Hey, I'm Brant. I'm a birder from Ohio in the US.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Seymour from Ringwood, New Jersey in the United States.
Hi there, this is Karin from Oulu in Finland on a beautiful autumn day on my local patch, and I'm really looking forward to coming here, seeing if there's anything out and about for the October Global Birdwatch and putting all other results up onto the Casual Birder podcast eBird group. We did it a while ago for a little trial, and it's absolutely fascinating seeing what was being spotted all across the world. So with more people participating, that's going to be even more exciting. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Along with the people you just heard are Jessica from Victoria, Australia, Boris from Lithuania, Jeff from Serbia, Jane, Kieran, Mel and Annika from England, and past guest Jeremy Schwartz from Oregon, USA. Oh, and me. We have a Just Giving page to help raise funds for BirdLife International. If you're able to contribute to it, that would be awesome. And it would help enormously if you would share our Just Giving page link to bring the fundraising to the greatest number of people. It's justgiving.com/fundraising/casual-birder-podcast. I'll be posting about it on my social media, so please share my posts. Remember, Saturday, October the 17th is the main Birdwatch Day. Sunday, 18th of October, is a day for sharing our bird photos, art and stories to encourage others to enjoy our wonderful birds. I do hope you'll take part in this event, whether for 15 minutes or all day. I'll be sharing what I see and the Casual Birder podcast team's efforts, and watching the eBird page to see the sightings flood in from around the world. This is a wonderful way to share our love of watching birds wherever we are, and to contribute to the data held by the eBird research database and raise money for BirdLife International. Do let me know what birds you see. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram or Facebook, tag me in your posts, and you can email me at casualbirderpod@gmail.com. Thank you to Randy Braun for designing the artwork for my show. The theme music is Short Sleeve Shirt by The Drones. Thanks to them for letting me use it. Check out their website at dronesmusic.net. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you'll join me again for another episode of the Casual Birder podcast.